Hello ladies and gentlemen, my gamer tag is gNightrow, and for the past few videos I was actually away from YouTube for about half a year. Within that time I've done a few pieces of art which I recorded on OBS, and most of the recordings is actually quite silly because it takes so long to do particular art pieces. Like, for example, this scorpion one. Check out my ArtStation page in the video description. I had a recording here, all the way, stopped for a while, and then started again, and all the way round to the end. This is how many recordings it is. I will upload a few time lapses of drawings and maybe a few sculpts, but for now I will just go through a few of the videos and I will react to my older progress. It's been a while since I've seen these art pieces. It'll be interesting on how much I've improved. I'll start with the top left. What do we have here? We have a line on... Okay, what is this? What's this drawing? Let me guess. Oh, it's a two-shielded lizard alien thing with giant hands. The hands are just as big as the shields, so he can grab you if the player walks close to him. And I started making a cool design on the shield also, which I later decided to add rope. I'll show you the rope later on. Oh yeah, and I also added daggers on the side of the shields. So later on, these are the shields with the rope inside. I did two views, one third angle view and a side view, and I did a third angle and side view for the other characters which I drew also. Some sort of bat skull which is bending over, and it's got walking stick things which I drew. I don't know what to call those, or I was thinking, I was experimenting with different shapes of weapons. Creepy, fiery face. I think I'd taken inspiration from a character from Doctor Who first episode where David Tennant is acting in on the Christmas Day special. Sexy body. One of the first sculpts I did, which was actually in Blender 2.8. Kind of looks like a high school bully. I did an okay job in my opinion, but I guess it's got character. Like, he wants a fight with someone. Later on I decided to do ears which are separate from the body and then boolean them. And rather than drawing out the ears every single time I do the sculpts. Another bat thing with a weird spiky weapon. And this is a side view for another character. Looks like some sort of monkey, I guess, with the same spiky weapon. I used this idea for a spiky weapon in quite a lot of the drawings which I did. Another weird dinosaur face. And here's the spiky weapon again. I also had the idea for having legs which are double jointed, but in this case it's like triple jointed. One in front, and then that's a knee back there, and then the feet. And I drew abs on this character. It looks like it's a bit rude round here, but that is not my intent. I was intending for the legs to be sticking in front of him. And also I've got these shells on the back of his back. This is the side view of the character. It looks worse on this side. Another Blender 2.8 sculpt. Oh, this is one of the dinosaur characters from earlier, which I actually done hard surface modeling. I'm not really too sure whether or not it's faster doing hard surface modeling because it seems a bit finicky. I think sometimes it's better just to get right into sculpting from the beginning. Well, I guess it depends. Whether or not you want characters which look similar, it's better to do multiple later sculpts with dynamic topology on, which seems actually very smooth, but not as smooth as ZBrush, but it feels better because I have the option to also doing box modeling instead of switching back and forth between Blender and ZBrush. Dynamic topology is very helpful because you can just go in and sculpt anything without any real limit because you're creating new geometry automatically. Earlier I actually experienced a bug with my tablet where every other time I drew, it dug into the mesh rather than added on the mesh, but I fixed that. His legs are very far apart. It looks like a cowboy drawing abs. Okay, I'll look at this character's shield and stuff, which I modeled in Blender. I haven't actually finished this character yet because I still need to retopologize the actual character. For the ropes within the shield, I used the skin modifier in Blender, so I could extrude them out where the vertice is. And then I overlapped them and duplicated them around to give the effect that it's ropes and it's three-dimensional. I'll take a look at the scorpion now, which I started in ZBrush and then later on did stuff in Blender, but I think it's better to do the whole thing in Blender, thinking about it, because it's easier to model stuff in hard surface modeling. And the sculpting in Blender is really good still. But this scorpion took for ages to model. It took about 3 weeks to do in total, from modeling each part and then retopologizing it and then UV unwrapping it. I started retopologizing in Blender 2.8 because it's got new retopology tools, but I instead resorted to an add-on in Blender 2.7 with the grease modifier where I can actually draw on the model, but I didn't actually use it that often. Either way, I did own the retopology in 2.79 where I just need to extrude each area out on top of the already dense mesh. But I'll explain on this later in another video or live stream. I did high resolution sculpting in Blender 2.8 where you had a modifier which subdivides the model, so you've got loads more polygons, but the topology is still the same. This program here is actually a window where I can actually drag out images. Right now in this video I've got a reference of the texture for scorpions. It's called PureRef. I've got it downloaded so I can just type it in and then click on it and it shows up. So I can just drag images into here and then have them displayed on my desktop without needing a separate monitor. I can resize it and stuff. Pretty cool. Oh, there was a bug which I didn't actually figure out that it was a bug until later on, where every single time I saved, there's randomly a polygon which is just teleporting around the place. Something to do with the vert order inside of the text file. So every single time I saved, there's a random vertice which is poking out. And I was smoothing it out so that the vertice would go back to the original place. But I needed to do that so often that it took so long to save each time. But I didn't realize that when saving, it actually makes it worse later on. It was a nightmare. But now I know that it's a bug in 2.8, which didn't occur in 2.79, so I actually did the multi-resolution sculpting in 2.79. Oh yeah, and another thing which I didn't realize to do when retopologizing. I think it's better to have them separate objects rather than having it as one unibody, especially with the legs. The legs are a nightmare. Yeah, so I did the multi-resolution sculpting in 2.79 where I had textures applied. There's loads of finicky things which I needed to do, but oh well, I'll do another big model later on. That's enough for now. Oh yeah, okay. Who is this likeness I did? Can you guess who this is? It's a very, very bad attempt at someone beginning with P. It's awful. It's awful. It's embarrassing. I won't continue it because it's terrible. This is the end result of the scorpion. You can find it on my ArtStation page. Right now it's in a pose. To get out of the pose, I need to drag this. This is the original pose. This is the topology where everything's made out of squares and some triangles. And everything needs to go in a certain direction to create the detail where necessary. I'm very proud of this and what I accomplished. I also had a particle system where I actually drew in the hairs. We'll show it in shaded. Turn off the wireframe. When I use cyclones whilst recording, it lags, so I won't use cyclones. I'll use Eevee, which is the new real-time rendering engine. I don't have that good lighting here. Hide this so that I can have a good look at the bottom. Very nice. The teeth are very bloody. I did the texturing using the shader graph. Yeah, it's all procedural rather than a single image. I'm happy the way this turned out. I'll do more modeling videos in the future. Thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe with notifications on and like the video and comment below what you think of this. Thank you very much for watching. Bye.